Greetings, YouTube. I was never the biggest fan of The Next Generation. I watched all of it, to the best of my recollection, because I was a Star Trek fan, because I actually remembered seeing the third season of Star Trek when it first aired. Yes, I am an old. Um, and it's Star Trek. And I watched the movies, even though there was uh, a bit of an uneven journey between films. Um, and I've enjoyed other. I enjoyed Enterprise, even though it was very flawed. I enjoyed Deep Space Nine. I haven't watched the full run. I enjoyed Voyager. Haven't watched the full run of that one either. I've been enjoying Discovery, and I have watched the full run of that. I've enjoyed the first season of Lower Decks. I'll wait till it hits disc before I catch the second season. Loved Lower Decks. Absolutely is an awesome parody of Star Trek being produced by the Star Trek people. It's a beautiful thing. Um, but one of the great lines from Star Trek was from Picard in The Next Generation. And that is, you can do everything right and still lose. And that's something that people don't seem to remember. Those of us who suffer from perfectionism, and I know you will not believe that from the mess behind me, but who are always trying to do the best we can, even when we fail, because we were given crappy programming when we were growing up. And so we've convinced ourselves if you can get every single thing perfect, then it will go out. Go right. And the reality is, you can get every single thing perfect, and you can still fail. Now that doesn't mean you're a failure. Doesn't mean you lost. Doesn't mean you shouldn't try again. It just means that sometimes you can do every single thing right, and because of things well beyond your control, and control is an illusion, you fail. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no crime involved in that. You should not be held responsible for that. If you genuinely and sincerely try to accomplish something to the best of your ability within your skill level, I don't think your average person should be trying heart surgery, and you fail, that's just life. And it's important to understand that. There's an old joke that you avoid mistakes by gaining experience. You gain experience by making mistakes, but it's true. I'm going to give you a really bizarre example. I don't know if you've ever played with a Magic 8 Ball, but there is a 20-sided die inside that, and I collect dice. So I picked one up at a yard sale once for $1. Getting them apart is remarkably difficult. I didn't saw it open, which is what I should have done. I just basically tried to pry it open. Didn't wear gloves, should have done that, and hurt myself somewhat severely when the thing snapped closed on my finger. Yeah. But I'll never make that mistake again. I still have the die. It's up here, I think. And that fluid in there is nasty. But the only way I was going to gain that particular knowledge is to make that mistake. Now I'm passing that knowledge over onto you, so take my word for it. Do not just try to pry open a Magic 8 Ball. Cut it open safely with safety glasses and gloves and everything that you need to make sure you don't get injured. Don't make mistakes that I have. Sometimes it's important to learn from the mistakes of others because you might not survive them yourself. But even if I had done everything perfect, there's still the chance that something could have gone wrong. Because I didn't know what was inside that thing. Literally didn't know how the inside of that thing was constructed. It's a little cylinder with fluid in it. And most of the Magic 8 Ball is just hollow. It's not entirely full of liquid. But I didn't know the exact structure of the interior world. It was a black box for the most part. So I can't be blamed for that. I just didn't really parse it out enough. It was kind of a spontaneous thing. Sometimes when you don't plan, that's when you get hurt the most, most likely to get hurt. But sometimes the best plans still don't work. I have done so many things in my shop, so many things where I have planned everything I could conceivably plan, and something occurs that I never considered. Or I've got an idea, I'm doing good, and do something and didn't realize that one of the pieces that I just worked on had been turned 180 degrees. It looked identical to the one I was working on. Didn't realize that I turned the other one in the wrong direction. So now I have a piece that is not going to work for me. So I have to make it over again. If I make something twice, usually I live with the second one. But it's hard sometimes when it seems that everything we try fails. And when it seems like everything you try fails, I think you might want to start looking inside, because maybe it's your perception. Maybe you're perceiving failure where there isn't one. Because sometimes how we perceive failure is different than actual failure. And you can learn from mistakes and have somebody else look at it. Get another perspective. Because someone else can tell you that, by the way, you didn't actually, that thing you think is a failure isn't. It's just a feature of the item you're working with. You could be blaming yourself for things that are beyond your control. They're part of the fabric of physics for all you know. So make sure that something's actually gone wrong, and it isn't just your perception of the situation at hand that is the wrong thing. And then don't beat yourself up if it is your perception, because a lot of the time we're given crappy programming when we're kids, and we are not responsible for that. We did not ask for that programming. We were not involved in the decision making when it comes to that programming. We were just given it when we were kids. But it is our responsibility as adults to fix that programming to the best of our abilities. And when we can't do it on our own, it's time to ask friends for help and professionals. It may require chemicals. I take antidepressants. It may take therapy. It could just take reading the right books. Deep Survival, a book that had nothing to do with mental health at all, was my first step to understanding that sometimes your brain will lie to you, because your brain is operating in ignorance, because it's just a mechanical, biological machine, and it can get you in trouble. And that book helped me understand that when your amygdala is doing things that help drive you in a direction that will literally get you killed. So we have to use executive functions. But that book wasn't all about mental health, but it helped me. And it got me to understand that sometimes the best you can do is all you can with what you got. If you're working with imperfect information, then all you can do is the best you can with what you got. No one can blame you for that, including you. So remember, you can do it all right and still fail. And that's okay. Learn what you can from the process. And if you think that you're failing every single time, talk to other people, talk to a professional, get the help you need and the support you need. Find the deep survival book out there that works for you. But you're not to blame for everything. I really kind of wish somebody had told me that sooner.